Hi, I'm Patrick Reagan. Welcome to the Virtualization and Cloud Computing, Part 3, Understanding the Cloud. In this video, we define what is the cloud, the characteristics of the cloud, and how to use it. It will cover common cloud models such as private and public cloud, and infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. As always, stick around for the practice questions at the end to test your knowledge and help you prepare for the A+ exam. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to click the like button, and if you have not already, subscribe to the Pat Has Your Back channel for more tech training content and technical know-how. As you recall from the earlier videos, earlier data centers consist of hundreds of physical servers, with each server being assigned a workload, such as a specific application or service. Unfortunately, most of the resources on an individual server were often wasted. Eventually, data centers started to consolidate many physical servers to a single server running multiple virtual machines or virtual servers using Microsoft Hyper-V or VMware EXI. As a result, there was a significant increase in resource use while reducing overall cost and power consumption and reducing the number of physical servers. Virtualization led us to the first topic: what is the cloud? The cloud refers to a network of remote servers accessible through the internet where users can store and access data, run applications, and utilize services like email, streaming video, and office software, essentially allowing them to access information from anywhere with an internet connection without needing to manage physical servers. In simpler terms, it's a virtual storage space online where you can keep your files, services, and programs. Cloud computing is the use of internet-based computing resources, typically as a service, to allow internal or external customers to consume where scalable and elastic information technology, IT-enabled capabilities are provided. Cloud computing refers to the delivery of computer services like servers, storage, databases, networking, and software over the internet, allowing users to access these resources on demand without needing to manage their own physical hardware. You're essentially renting computer power as needed and paying only for what you use. The cloud provider uses a black box approach by providing the cloud service without you worrying about the details that make the service work. This allows you to focus on your core business without fretting about running an entire data center. Key points about the cloud include access from anywhere. You can access your cloud data from any device with an internet connection. Data storage. The cloud stores your data on remote servers managed by a cloud provider. Scalability. You can easily increase or decrease your cloud storage space as needed. And services offered. Besides storage, cloud service can include computing power, databases, software applications, and more. Examples of the cloud include online storage with Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive, and Dropbox. Microsoft Office 365 that includes Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneDrive, and Exchange email. Email services with Microsoft Outlook and Gmail. Streaming services such as movies, TV shows, and music with Netflix and Spotify. Online meeting via Zoom and Microsoft Teams. And managing customer relationships with Salesforce. National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST, states that the cloud is composed of these 5 essential characteristics. On-demand self-service. The cloud service provider that enables the provision of cloud resources on demand. Broad network access. The cloud, by its nature, is an always-on and always accessible offering for users to have widespread access to resources, data, and other assets. Resource pooling or shared resources. Group or pool resources for use across the user landscape or multiple clients, which can then scale and adjust to the user's or client needs based on their workload or resource requirements. Rapid elasticity allows the user to obtain and release additional resources, storage, compute power, and so on as the user's need or workload requires, which can include seamless scaling and instant resource provisioning. And measured service. Resource users can be measured, controlled, reported, and alerted upon. Advantages of the cloud include cost efficiency, with no need for upfront investment in hardware or data centers, accessibility, where data and applications can be accessed from anywhere with an internet connection. Automatic updates, where the cloud providers handles maintenance, including updates and patches. Disaster recovery, where data is often backed up and redundantly stored across multiple locations. While redundancy provides availability, high availability will cost more. And file synchronization. Information can be duplicated across cloud locations, including synchronizing on local machines to the cloud. Cloud services are based on metered utilization, a fee charged by cloud service providers on the basis of how much of a resource was used. Fees may be based on things like access time, bandwidth used, bytes uploaded or downloaded, CPU usage, amount storage used, and other resource usage metrics. Metered cloud services allow you to pay for what you use, including cost to upload, cost to store, and cost to download. Non-metered cloud services allow you to pay for a block of storage with no cost to upload or download. Multitenancy in cloud computing is an architecture where a single instance of a software application and its underlying infrastructure serves multiple customers or tenants, each with their own isolated and secure data and configuration. This approach maximizes resource utilization, reduces costs by sharing resources, and enables efficient, centralized updates and maintenance across all users. However, multi-tenancy in public clouds can result in side-channel attacks or exploitations of vulnerabilities and shared resources. Examples of a shared tenancy risk is when the attacker exploiting vulnerabilities in a hypervisor to access data from other tenants. It can be mitigated by using dedicated hardware options when possible and monitor for anomalous activity. File synchronization integrates into the cloud by creating a central online repository where files are stored and automatically kept up to date across multiple user devices. A client application such as Microsoft OneDrive and Dropbox on a user's device detects changes to files in a designated folder, sends those updates to the cloud server, and then propagates them to all other connected devices. This process ensures that users always have access to the most recent versions of their files from any location, facilitating real-time collaboration and eliminating data inconsistencies. Cloud computing allows you to move your compute services from CapEx to OpEx. This moves the cost from a large upfront purchase of physical assets to a pay-as-you-go subscription-based service. Capital expenditure, or CapEx, is money invested by a company to acquire or upgrade fixed, physical, or non-consumable assets. Examples include buildings, computer equipment, production equipment, furniture, and land. Operational expenditures, or OpEx, is expenditures that a business incurs as a result of performing its normal business operations. Examples include utility costs, maintenance, rent, utilities, research and development expenses, accounting and legal fees, and wages and salaries. Drivers for cloud computing include the desire to reduce IT complexity, risk reduction. Users can use the cloud to test ideas and concepts before making major investments in technology. Scalability. Users have access to a large number of resources that scale based on user demand. Elasticity. The environment transparently manages a user's resource utilization based on dynamically changing needs. Consumption-based pricing. Virtualization. Each user has a single view of the available resources, independent of their arrangement in terms of physical devices. Cost. The pay-per-usage model allows an organization to pay only for the resources it needs, with basically no investments in the physical resources available in the cloud. There are no infrastructure maintenance or upgrade costs. Business agility. Mobility. Users can access data and applications from around the globe. Collaboration and innovation. Users are starting to see the cloud as a way to work simultaneously on common data and information. Advocates of public and hybrid clouds note that cloud computing allows companies to avoid or minimize upfront IT infrastructure costs. Proponents also claim that cloud computing allows enterprises to get their applications up and running faster with improved manageability and less maintenance. It enables IT teams to be more rapidly adjust resources to meet fluctuating and unpredictable demand. Cloud providers typically use a pay-as-you-go model, which can lead to unexpected operating expenses if administrators are not familiarized with cloud pricing models. By moving workloads to the cloud, allows the company IT staff to focus on the application or service running on the cloud, and not to worrying about the underlying details that make the service available. Does using cloud service always save you money? Using cloud service doesn't always save money, although it often does for many businesses by shifting capital expenditure to operational ones, reducing IT staff and maintenance costs, and providing scalable resources on a pay-as-you-go basis. However, actual savings depends on proper resource management, choosing appropriate pricing models, avoiding excess usage, and optimizing cloud configurations to prevent unexpected high bills. Reasons cloud services might not save money include poor cost management, suboptimal design, data ingress fees that are associated with transferring large amounts of data out of the cloud that can incur additional significant costs, and incorrect pricing model. Cloud computing roles include the cloud service provider, or CSP, is a company that provides cloud-based platform, infrastructure, application, or storage services to other organizations or individuals, usually for a fee, otherwise known as clients, as a service. Cloud Backup Service Provider is a third-party entity that manages and holds operational responsibilities for cloud-based data backup services and solutions to customers from a central data center. Cloud Computing Reseller is a company that purchases hosting services from a cloud service hosting or cloud computing provider and then resells them to its own customers. Cloud Customer is an individual or entity that utilizes or subscribes to cloud-based services or resources. Cloud Service Auditor is a third-party organization that verifies attainment of service level agreements or SLAs. Cloud Service Brokerage, or CSB, is typically a third-party entity or company that looks to extend or enhance value to multiple customers of cloud-based services through relationships with multiple CSPs. It acts as a liaison between the cloud services customer and CSPs, selecting the best provider for each customer and monitoring the services. The CSP can be utilized as the middleman to broker the best deal and customize service to customers' requirements. The CSP may also resell cloud services. Service models used in the cloud include the following. Infrastructure as a Service, or IaaS, provides virtualized computer services such as virtual machines, storage, and networking so that you can deploy and run arbitrary software, which can include operating systems and applications. The consumer does not manage or control the underlying cloud infrastructure. Provides services at the lowest level of network infrastructure, including networking, storage, servers, and virtualization. Platform as a Service, or PaaS, offers development platforms and tools for building applications without managing underlying infrastructure. It delivers a computing platform, typically including operating systems, programming language execution environments, database, and web server. It allows you to build or deploy applications based on programming languages, libraries, and services without worrying about the underlying infrastructure. Application developers develop and run their software on a cloud platform instead of directly buying and managing the underlying hardware and software layers. It allows the customer to have control over the application themselves. Software as a Service, or SaaS, delivers software applications over the internet, accessible via a browser. Users use and access the cloud provider's applications that are running on the provider's infrastructure from thin client or program interfaces. The cloud provider manages the infrastructure and platforms that run the application and install and operate application software in the cloud, and cloud users access the software from cloud clients. SaaS is sometimes referred to as on-demand software and is usually priced on a pay-per-use basis or using a subscription fee. Another way to look at these three service models are infrastructure as a service has the cloud provider maintains and controls the underlying architecture, while the customer controls services deployed with the cloud, including operating system, storage, and deployed applications. There's limited control over network components for the customer, and the customer can deploy and run arbitrary software and systems. It offers rapid provisioning and scalability and high availability. Platform as a Service has the cloud providers responsible for the operating system and hosting environment, including libraries, services, and tools. Customers responsible for deploying the applications within the provided platform infrastructure, and the cloud providers responsible for patching and deploying systems. It offers auto-scaling and flexible in choice of hosting environments. Software as a service, or SaaS, as the cloud provider supplies the full cloud platform and software application to the customer. Provider is responsible for maintaining the entire system and all underlying infrastructure. Customer provides user access and permissions to data for their requirements, with lowest support requirements for the customer, and the customer has limited configuration options. Here's a diagram comparing the three service models. As you can see, infrastructure as service, the administrators have more control over the environment and less control as they move to the SaaS applications. Platform as a service is aimed at software developers, while SaaS applications are aimed at end users. Examples of infrastructure as a service is AWS, Google, and Microsoft Azure. Examples of platform as a service include AWS Elastic Beanstalk, Google App Engine, Microsoft Azure Platform, and AWS Lambda. Examples of software as a service include Google Docs, Office 365, Dropbox, DocuSign, Gmail, and Zoom. This figure shows what the service provider manages and what the client manages. As you can see with the infrastructure as a service, the provider is responsible for virtualization, servers, storage, and networking, while the client is responsible for the operating system, middleware, runtime, data, and applications. As you move to platform as a service, the client is only responsible for applications and data, while for the SaaS applications, everything is handled by the service provider. At the bottom, you can see that the service provider handles all power and cooling. Remember, the advantage of the cloud is that it handles these services so you don't have to. By you not worrying about these underlying technologies or services, you can focus on what's important to you. The cloud can be divided into 4 deployment models: private cloud, public cloud, hybrid cloud, and community cloud. A cloud is called a public cloud when the services are rendered over a network that is open for public use. It is delivered by third-party providers over the internet, offering shared resources like servers, storage, and software to the general public on a pay-as-you-go basis. It operates on a multi-tenant architecture where multiple customers use the same IT infrastructure, but their data remains segregated. Key benefits include cost-effectiveness, scalability, and reliability, as users avoid the need for managing their own hardware. Public cloud services may be free. Examples of public cloud providers include Amazon Web Services, or AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud Platform, as well as Dropbox, Zoom, and Salesforce. Private cloud is a cloud infrastructure operated solely for a single organization, whether managed internally or by a third party, and hosted either internally or externally. It is your own virtualized local data center. Undertaking a private cloud project requires a significant engagement to virtualize the business environment and requires the organization to reevaluate decisions about existing resources. It can improve business, but every step in the project raises security concerns that must be addressed to prevent serious vulnerabilities. Self-run data centers are generally capital intensive. They have a significant physical footprint, requiring allocations of space, hardware, and environmental controls. Technically, there may be little or no difference between public and private cloud infrastructure. However, security considerations may be substantially different from services, including application storage and other resources, that are made available by a service provider for a public audience and when communication is effected over a non-trusted network. Hybrid cloud is a composition of the public cloud and a private environment, such as the private cloud or on-premise resources that remain distinct entities but are bound together, offering the benefits of multiple deployment models. Hybrid cloud can also mean the ability to connect co-locations, manage and/or dedicated services with cloud resources. It allows one to extend either the capacity or the capability of a cloud service by aggregating integration or customization with another cloud service. For example, you can have some storage allocated in the cloud and some storage allocated to your own data center. Netflix is not a public cloud service. Instead, it is considered a hybrid cloud service. It is a customer of the Amazon Web Services, or AWS, but operates its own content delivery network, or CDN, called OpenConnect for efficient video streaming. Adobe uses a hybrid infrastructure by using public cloud to allow users to access their creative assets from any device, while Adobe's private cloud environment stores sensitive customer data. Many financial institutions, healthcare providers, and retailers use hybrid infrastructures. Community clouds share infrastructures between several organizations from a specific community with common concerns, including security, compliance, and jurisdiction, whether managed internally or by a third party and either hosted internally or externally. The costs are spread over fewer users than the public cloud, but more than the private cloud, so only some of the cost savings potential of cloud computing are realized. Industry-specific community cloud include government cloud, healthcare community cloud, finance community cloud, education community cloud, and research consortiums. Question: which of the following cloud computing concepts allow scalable services provided to the client? Answer: rapid elasticity. Question: which of the following cloud models allow you to share costs among multiple customers? Answer: public cloud. Question: you subscribe to a cloud service and you pay a monthly fee for a block of services. Which of the following is represented when you build incrementally when you exceed the monthly fee? Answer: measured service. Question: what type of service would be a hosted email be? Answer: SaaS. Question: which of the following describes IaaS? Answer: you provide hardware to host multiple virtualized servers in the cloud. Question: which cloud model allows you the most control? Answer: IaaS. Question: which of the following roles, according to the shared responsibility model, is responsible for securing the company's database and an infrastructure as a service model for a cloud environment? Answer: client. Question: which of the following would you use to outsource patching of firmware, operating systems, and applications to the chosen cloud vendor? Answer: SaaS. Question: which of the following best describes an environment where a business owns the application and operating system, but requires the resources to host them in the cloud? Answer: IaaS. For more information, visit these sites. In summary, the cloud refers to the network of remote servers accessible through the internet where users can store and access data, run applications, and utilize services like email, streaming video, and office software, essentially allowing them to access information from anywhere with an internet connection without needing to manage physical servers. The cloud provider uses a black box approach by providing the cloud service without you worrying about the details that make the service work. Cloud computing allows you to move your compute services from CapEx to OpEx. Infrastructure as a Service, or IaaS, provides virtualized computing resources such as virtual machines, storage, and networking so that you can deploy and run arbitrary software, which can include operating systems and applications. Platforms as a Service, or PaaS, offers development platforms and tools for building applications without managing underlying infrastructure. Software as a Service, or SaaS, delivers software applications over the internet accessible via a browser. Private cloud is cloud infrastructure operated solely for a single organization, whether managed internally or by a third party and hosted either internally or externally. A cloud is called a public cloud where the services are rendered over the network that is open for public use. Thank you for watching this video. This completes the Virtualization and Cloud Computing series of videos. The next series will be operating system. If you like this video, don't forget to click the like button. And if you have not already, subscribe to the Pat Has Your Back channel. Thank you.